Yo, I want to chill right now.
You're disrespecting me in a public forum right now. You realize that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want that to be the goal of the podcast, for somebody to let go of their worries in the world and listen to us.
This is my new look, Daddy David. Daddy David.
Born to procreate. Born to procreate. Yeah, that better make it in the intro.
Nah, probably not.
Hey, beautiful people! Welcome to episode 95 of the Unboxing Life podcast, the show where we are about to review the one and only Demon Slayer Season 2 that just ended like a week and a half ago. So, if that interests you, tickles your fancy, buckle in. We got four gentlemen here. I'm one of them. I'm Ari-chan. I'm also joined by... What's your name, David? I'm not saying it.
You're not saying it. I gotta say it. Well, how about you entertain this dick? That's my name because I was trying to think of one, and that's what I came up with.
No, it's pretty fire, man. It's I like the double entendre. Maybe a triple. I don't even know at this point.
Yeah.
I'm also joined by a drinking game, otherwise known as Drink Every Time He Says Flashy. That's agreeable.
Brothers and sisters of the Unboxing Life podcast, if you would like to be face down in your bathroom after 3 episodes of this arc of Demon Slayer, drink every time Tengen Uzui says flashy.
Yeah, he says flashy quite a lot. He's a flashy character.
He is. He's
I can't really hate him for it.
Oh, I love that man.
We're also joined by the flashiest man.
I am the flashiest man. I don't know if I'm as flashy as Uzui, but I try to do things in a flashy way, at least for this episode in particular, to pay respect.
For sure.
Respect. I like it.
Sure.
All right. Well, we are about to jump into a review of Demon Slayer Season 2. But before we get into that, do we want to do some traditions for the people? I do believe we prepare these every episode. Do we?
Spoilers ahead, by the way.
Yes, please. It is absolutely going to be spoiled for you. So go watch the show and then come back. Or watch the manga, be an asshole on Twitter about it, and then come watch it.
Yes, watch the
manga. Do that.
Watch the manga, yes.
Watch the manga.
Listen to the manga on audiobook.
Jesus. All right.
An audiobook.
Imagine just that. the most reduced form of being able to absorb it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We're an audiobook for you guys. So
yeah, there you go. That'll work.
Mm-hmm. All right. So people are like, if you wanted to make an audiobook of anime, it wouldn't even be anime. You'd just be reading manga. It'd be
but then it'd just be like descriptive audio too. Yeah, you'd have to be like.
Yeah.
But then it would just be a normal book.
Bam.
Then it would just be a novel where you would have to like describe the actions without the comic part.
Yeah.
It would just be a novel, not manga.
Yeah.
An action movie, an action novel.
I need my joke of the week. Give me the joke.
True. All right. This joke comes to you from Ali Teapot on Reddit. Shout out to you. But it's a one-liner, when I was thinking of my joke, it's a random joke, but it's entertaining, like the Entertainment District,
Okay.
So that's how it relates, because it's going to be totally unrelated besides that. So, thank you to everybody who taught me what a bargain means. It means a great deal.
Nice.
A great deal of sadness.
You gotta love this. This thing.
A bargain of sadness. There you go.
A bargain.
That's what
There's your word of the day too.
That's what Tengen was. That's what Tengen was trying to do, walking around the Entertainment District at the beginning with all 3 of them lined up in front of him. He's like, "It's a bargain. I'll just give them to you. Like you just have free hands for your house. Come on,
true.
Take them.
Take the ugly women.
Yeah.
Take these ugly little girls."
They're so overwhelmingly handsome that they
even though Nosuke is actually pretty as hell.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. It's so unsettling to see him like without his boar mask. Honestly, I hate it.
What?
I cannot stand the way he looks.
Bro,
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah,
I
he looks
actually,
so
I don't know if
He's
that'll
awesome.
be the one
No,
hot take of this
the
episode.
they took off the makeup and
No,
they're
he's a
like, "Yo,
baller.
we got a good deal." He's
Yeah.
good.
We got a good deal.
That's so funny.
They got a good deal on all of them.
There you go. Well, they saved. Well, they did something.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll get into it. What
Well,
next?
since David, you want the mic? You wanna give us your
Sure,
track of
why
the week?
not? I figured I'd continue my instrumental tradition I've been doing these past few weeks with a song I heard like a couple days ago for the first time and sounded like it could be in an action anime.
Okay.
So maybe listen to this while you're reading the Demon Slayer manga and not spoiling us, you fricks.
Yeah, man.
It
I'm down with
is-
that.
It is called Instrumental by Black Country New Road. So,
Oh, you got Fantano'd. Nah,
a little
I see
bit.
you.
I've been hearing about them across the internet.
I had never heard of them before I saw that Fantano video, and then I tried to listen to it, and I was like, all right, this is not for me. So I kept moving on. But
Yeah, I listened to their first album. I guess this is on, and it was interesting. I'll probably listen to it some more. But this is a dope track.
Okay. So it's literally called Instrumental?
It's called Instrumental. It has great builds and everything. It really does sound like some building action. Great, freaking hand drums, I want to say, and just craziness. So.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
pissed that I didn't get to listen to that one at least, but we'll go.
Yeah, at least check that one out. Yeah.
So what's the track called?
Instrumental by Black
By-
Country New Road.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. I like it. We'll check it out.
There we go.
All right, Cameron. Give me the fact.
All right.
It is a fact that I need a fact.
Yes.
True.
I'm just gonna give us a bit of historical context for the episode, which is the Demon Slayer in its plot is said to take place during the Taisho period, which is about 1912 to 26, so early 20th century. But the yukaku, or literally meaning pleasure quarters, have existed since 1617, when the Tokugawa shogunate issued an order restricting prostitution to these specific areas on the outskirts of cities. The pleasure quarters were walled and guarded for taxation and access control. So they were set up and legitimately taxed and treated as businesses, and so they were an important part of the economy of these communities. So it really did exist as it's depicted in this show, where it's a community of businesses, and it has the prostitutes and courtesans were licensed as Yujo and ranked according to an elaborate hierarchy, with Taiyu and later, as we see in the show, Oiron at the apex. The women were not allowed outside of the walls except to visit dying relatives and once a year for hanami, which is the viewing of cherry blossoms. Prostitution eventually became illegal in Japan only a few years after the end of World War II, in the new government that took over after the end of World War II. So there you go. Just a bit of background. It did exist basically exactly how it's depicted in the show. So yeah,
We'd like to hear that.
Yeah.
historical accuracy from the entertainment. So there we go.
Yeah, I feel like every time I look at whether it be my anime list or my anime list or Crunchyroll, every time you see a summary of Demon Slayer, it's like, it is the Tashiro period. It's like
Taisho.
This is like Taisho, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like that. That's the description.
It is that.
Yeah, I believe it's
Yeah.
broken down based on the acting government, who's in charge. But
Yeah, that was interesting to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there you go.
All right. Well, I guess since I set myself up to go last, by no fault of my own, I will give you guys the 3 words of the day that I got for y'all, and it's a little bit of a twist. I have not been reading, so I haven't been able to accumulate more words from Circe for you guys, but I will do it in the vein of Demon Slayer. I'll give you some words that are very applicable to the season that we were about to talk about. So the first one is Kizuki, and it is Kizuki, and it is as in the 12 Kizuki, or 12 demon moons, a group of elite demon henchmen in the anime and manga Demon Slayer.
Nice.
I didn't see this really used outside of Demon Slayer, so maybe it was adapted specifically for it, or they different spelling or something, or it's just not used hardly ever. But that's your first word of the day.
Nice.
Your second word of the day, Cameron had just mentioned Oiron. It is Oiran, and it is a name. And I'm getting this from I'm getting this from an article. It's called Slate.com, and the title of the article is "What's the difference between an Oiron and a Geisha?" So, Oiron was a name given to a prostitute who was very popular and highly regarded, mostly for her beauty, in the brothels of Yoshiwara and Edo, otherwise known as Tokyo. And let me give you the other one. Oh, geisha, yes. While a geisha is a trained entertainer who is very skilled in song, dance, playing an instrument, and otherwise entertaining guests. Although not primarily prostitutes, some did sleep with clients. So,
Multi-talented.
there's your 3 words of the day. Or the week.
Yeah. Cool.
Dope. I'm enlightened with those words.
I'm enlightened.
Must have been a very interesting cultural time for sure, and place.
Yeah. All right.
I know entertained this dick would have been very interested.
Yes, there was a lot of entertaining for them dicks for sure.
Right,
that's just how it was.
Them dick.
That's just how it was, brother. How'd y'all feel about this season, man, dude? I'm so ready to jump into it. Let's dive right in here. How'd y'all feel about the season? It's the follow up
Talk about the OP?
Yeah, definitely. We got to. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. The OP, of course.
Big facts.
Trevor, I believe I watched it with you for the first time.
You did.
And the debate was going to be whether or not it was better than the season 1 OP. Do we want to talk about it in comparison or on its own? Or
there is no comparison. The song shits on season 1's OP.
Damn.
Not even close. It doesn't even come close. One of the best OPs I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm not even joking. The song is a fucking banger and a half.
Oh my goodness.
Jazzy pianos, great instrumentals. The fucking vocalist is just like eating y'all alive with the fact that she just completely stormed that fucking performance. Right, do it again. Make a whole fucking album like that. Damn it. Produced by Hit Boy.
Produced by Hit Boy. Goodness.
Honestly,
No, this song is a slapper, banger, thumper, whatever you want to call it.
Dang, I honestly wasn't expecting you to say that. I thought you were gonna say the opposite, which
Fuck. Yeah, no,
it's kind of what I mean. I like the song. I do favor season 1 better though, just because that song slaps.
It does.
This song is a vibe to it. When I first heard it, I'm like, huh. And then I mean, it grew on me as I watched it throughout, and then I'm like, all right, da 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 da.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then I mean,
it's the tempo, it's the BPM, the instruments that they used. I'm very high energy when it comes to music, so
yeah, it's complemented by the colorful opening.
Yeah.
We got homie sitting there pimping. He's just chilling.
It's literally like audio, like fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's which is thematic with the whole season and everything. Yeah, and his whole character, Uzui's whole character. David, how'd you feel?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. It's funny that it is just like so upbeat and fun, and it's definitely different than a lot of stuff we've heard from the show so far. And it's interesting. Like I feel like hearing it again because it's just for 11 episodes. Like basically this one big fight. So having this intro for it, I feel like we'll recall this season very quickly in my mind. Like when I see it, I'm like, dang, I'm taken right back, even though it was not that long ago. But
Right.
Damn.
yeah,
that's
it's
a really good
fun.
point.
I don't know which one I like more, but it's great.
I wanted to re-listen to OP1 just because I sort of forget how it goes, like specifically, but I just know that. Damn, this fucking song. I said it earlier. I want a whole album like this. I want like a 10-track album of nothing but this.
Yeah, I got so much love for that first opening for season 1, and I'm not gonna go as far as Trevor's to say the new one shits on the original one, but oh man, yeah, this like Alex was saying, you just get into it, like you can I was watching it weekly, so like when I watch shows like this weekly, especially when they do have OPs this good, I'll just like sit back and listen to it every single time and just blast it in my headphones and just like spin around in my chair in my room and shit and act like a literal child because why not? It's anime. Fuck it. Let's enjoy it. So yeah, dude, it was you just da 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 da, and it's like audio fireworks. The piano's going crazy the entire time in the background. You got all them showing off. And in terms of like the animation, we talk on and off because we discuss the openings every time about how to what degree does an opening spoil the season, and like is it like do you watch the opening and do you watch the opening and you're like, well, now I know exactly how this is going to go. This is a specific scenario where, like David said just now, is like the entire season is a fight. Like they infiltrate, they do backstory in throughout, but like from basically midway through episode 5, they're fighting the main villain all the way through to the end of the season, which is episode 11. I think the fight like actually ends at the end of episode 10, and episode 11 is them like picking up the pieces and stuff. But it's just like 5 episodes worth of fighting with flashbacks and stuff intertwined. So
I actually think
going
more shit
hard the whole
happens
time
in Mugen Train than this entire season, which might be one of my biggest gripes of the whole season. But
because they fight like 2 separate demons, I guess. But like, yeah, I mean, more shit happens in Mugen Train because they have their own like interior like not monologues but scenarios where they have their own separate dreams and stuff. So because they get peeled away into different settings because of the dreams, I see what you're saying there. But yeah, it was just the one thing I was gonna say about it is like they reveal obviously like it's gonna be all 3 of them and Tengen against friggin' the worm belt woman Daki, but then they don't at all reveal the fact that there is going to be another demon. So you don't. That's true. Like I'm expecting
the Nezuko transformation.
Yeah, they reveal that like Nezuko is going to do some shit, but they don't go as far as to show like, I mean, how could you go as far as to show everything? Like, yeah,
she's
like,
gonna go Super Saiyan.
You get another hint at it, and like, how could you not? I mean, it happened in the end of season 1. It happened in Mugen Train. She is important in Mugen Train. She's gonna be important again here. So she's always instrumental. They're always instrumental in their own little ways. So it's yeah, dude. I was so hyped for this season. It was so good. How'd you guys feel? Come on. What are we doing here?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. I'm not blown away like everyone else is. I think it's a very solid entry in another shonen canon. Like, I think it's a great watch. The animation is fantastic. It's on fucking... It's otherworldly good. You know, it's Demon Slayer at this point. But like we were saying, it's one fight. It's like the whole thing is just one fight. And granted, it's great. You know, there's not a whole lot of dragging on that I felt, at least. Granted, it was only 11 episodes, but the first 3 episodes were like, just kind of setting up them going into the district.
Yeah, well, we do need a bit of, you know, recovery after Mugen Train.
I don't need a recovery.
Like assemble the pieces of Rengoku's legacy and stuff like that, and kind of like then we get bits and pieces through that visit to Rengoku's like family. Yeah. The idea of like sun breathing and this sort of lore behind the breathing techniques that we haven't heard about before. That is like the idea that there was a singular original breathing technique, and that Tanjiro might have some connection to it, and we get more and more like backstory about what his dad could have meant to the Hashira and stuff. So,
but did we need 2 or 3 episodes of them being chicks?
The
answer is no.
Yeah.
Well, so a big fat resounding no.
I definitely agree with Trevor in this sense, because the first episode was what, like 40 something
40
minutes,
and
then like homie Tengen gets introduced at the very end of that, and it's like now it's like gonna start when he gets introduced. Like, let's go to the entertainment district.
Yeah.
And it's
like Cam, when we were watching the show, I vividly remember the first, like, we watched 4 episodes, and I was like, I don't want to tell you because I don't want to
saying, "Don't worry, it gets good. It gets good soon."
But you kept saying that, and then you finally start fighting the chick with the scarf or whatever, the worms.
Yeah,
the OB.
But that was like episode 5 when shit starts popping off. I'm like, fam, 30%, 40% of the season is them just not doing a whole fuck of a lot.
Yeah, no, and you're right. It was like, we have this setup. It's gonna like be there to kind of extend the season. The way the fight was like half the season, but I don't know. But yeah, the setup did take a while, and it is like a drag on the season for sure. And the fact that it's like the bit that they committed to was them being dressed up as like fake little girl prostitutes was like
not for me at all.
Yeah, and it's the same type of humor of like Zenitsu being like so ridiculous, out of bounds, snotty, screamy, like freaking out all the time. Like the worst parts of his character is like the same sort of sense of humor.
Funny enough, he was actually fucking dethroned. He was dethroned. That one of his wives, especially at the very end, I was cringing my head off. Like it completely killed. We're just gonna fucking jump around, like guys.
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah, that's fine.
Don't expect it. Granted, there's not a whole lot of plot here.
The crybaby wife, yeah.
But like, no, okay. So let me get this shit off. Right?
I know
because
what you're saying.
Like,
go.
He was dying, and then they take every bit of suspense out of it. Like, oh, he's fucking dying in like 2 whole minutes of her just screaming, and then he's like, I can't even get my fucking dying words off. It was almost like satire. It was
satire.
So dude,
it was.
You're not gonna. That's fine, but that like, oh my god, that pissed me off so much.
Yeah, it was tough because then they make the look on his face like dumbfounded, cartoonish as well. Again, like it's like this serious moment.
Like,
and he's like,
are you kidding?
Am I seriously gonna die without getting my words off? Are we serious?
He's poisoned.
And it's like
he lost his fucking hand, and she's bitching. And it's like, okay, now he's not gonna die because I know it's humorous. It's a fucking humorous moment.
Yeah.
He's not gonna fucking die. I feel like Bill Burr.
Yeah. Bill Burr. Yeah. No, I know what you mean because they do, like, Demon Slayer in and of itself kind of establish itself on both sides of that line of plot armor where you're like, okay, Tanjiro and Osuke Zenitsu are never going to ever die, like, because they're the main characters and we need to see them through to the end. But like, maybe these Hashira are like expendable because we just came from a movie where the Hashira died and the 3 of them survived, and they didn't even kill the final demon. So we don't know like whether or not the demons are going to win or not based on what's happening. So all the cliffhangers I felt were like super effective, but like, yeah, when they get to that ending point and like the one wife is like literally saying like, yo, shut the fuck up, we need to hear what he's saying. Like this is his dying moments. Like can you literally pull yourself together? Like, we're all like committed to this man. Like, this is a whole like military, like emotional but like also militant, duteous bond we have of like as like ninja and shinobi and whatever, and she just won't shut the hell up. She's just bawling her eyes out the entire time.
I have a lot of respect for the show, like in general, just because of what happened in Mugen Train, where like Rengoku dies and they don't kill the bad guy.
Yeah,
you know, that's fucking baller. Like, there's not a whole lot of shows that have the balls to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's just like they kind of just fucking regress in my mind. That was so painful, but
yeah,
I think it's interesting how there's sort of a degree of like you don't know what to expect. Like you said, you know, they kill off Rengoku, so it's like they're not afraid to kill off characters,
right?
But then like they don't, they make the Uzui thing a funny moment, but then like they just come up with they be coming up with some ridiculous stuff. You got to admit, because like there was like the part where like Inosuke got stabbed through the heart. He's like, I can freaking move my internal organs,
bro.
Keep popping off. I'm right here, baby. Keep popping off.
Shit, man. Like, I just moved my internal organs. Like, no problem.
It is.
Like, if my head can fit in this hole, so can my whole body.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
I was mad.
He's like, I grew up in the mountains, so poison don't affect me.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Dude.
What does that mean?
What the fuck are you talking about? Do you understand your show? What is happening? I think the harsh climate, so fucking poison doesn't kill me. Are you kidding me? Yo, I live in the swamp, so when I get bit by an alligator, it just grows right back. Because I grew up around him.
Yeah, dude, I was so hyped when I was watching it for the first time. I was just like ignoring like a lot of the stuff and just seeing the hype shit, because that's like right before they cut off both of their heads at the same time, and it's such a gorgeous cinematic moment, and it sounds so good and it looks so good, and they do it so clean with the juxtaposition and everything. But like, yeah, I go back and like Inosuke, like it's when Zenitsu's going Godspeed, which is like this. They just keep on like piling on top of like Zenitsu can just go faster and faster with the same one form, which is mad funny, but I'm here for it, honestly. Where he's just like,
I can't
Ducky's
wait
like,
for him
Ducky,
to get a different form.
it's like
he just keeps getting first form.
It's
out,
like
and
every,
I'm just like, bro.
Yeah, it's like every single
Can't be
time.
hyped over this anymore.
Every single time it's like 8-fold, like 16-fold, and then just like keeps going. But Zenitsu's moments in this season are good. Because they're short and they just like he just pops up out of nowhere and like cuts 18 things, and then he's like the animation afterwards is gorgeous. He's asleep the entire time. That's his entire thing. But he's like talking. He's like sleepwalking. I don't know. But
it's just a big drool fucking bubble that comes out of his nose, and it's just like
that's supposed to
sleep, but I'm not asleep.
Signify that, yeah. But so yeah, but Inosuke, like he's like Zenitsu's like, I don't know if I can go any faster. I'm running out of speed, and Inosuke like comes out of nowhere, and there's so much blood coming out of his like helmet and like all of his orifices, and he's just like like posted up like with his swords behind his head, like going exactly as fast as Zenitsu for like 15 seconds straight while he explains how he can move his organs around and that poison has no effect on him, and then they cut the demon's head off. It's like it's well that's the first one. Yeah, that's when he first gets her head off and when he gets stabbed through the friggin' heart. But it's not his heart because he can so easily be flexible. But I don't know. They to a degree establish that he's ridiculously flexible, and so they just abuse it in that moment where they're just like, by the way, we can make him get impaled, but he's fine.
Right through his chest, and that ain't no small sickle.
Yeah, there was also another moment where Tanjiro and Uzui were fighting the brother demon, and like it was like showing them in slow motion cutting off his head, like about to, and then Zenitsu was like, they're about to cut off his head, and Inosuke's like, what do we do? I'm like, they're monologuing while they're going in slow motion like this, like what is freaking happening?
And Inosuke is like
we gotta
literally
cut his head off at the same time.
Inosuke is maybe like 50 feet in the air, like somehow about to land safely. We don't know, like Zenitsu and Inosuke just like take off in like off the earth so many times, just like land safely. But yeah, the monologuing
and the funny shit,
like they have so much shit happening in slow motion.
Because I'm gonna fucking forget this, but like Tanjiro literally has to like channel power because he's so fucking exhausted to even jump and try to help someone. And they're just sitting there like, yo, I'm on the fucking mood, man. What the fuck y'all doing?
Yeah, dude. Tanjiro just keeps on having to go. Like he's dying from like episode 6, and he's just like finds the last ounce of strength in his body like eight separate times. With that recovery breathing, like his only wound is that shoulder wound, but also like his arm is about to fall off, so I say only the shoulder wound, but it's like he's pretty messed up. But he does supposedly the recovery stop the bleeding thing that Rengoku teaches him at the end of Mugen Train. And so it's mostly just exhaustion and whether or not his lungs can handle the breathing techniques, which is why he starts like mixing stuff, which was like a cool little moment where he does actually save the one wife. That was another sick moment to me when you realize
that he had 3 wives.
No, that was a sickening moment to Gyotaro. He was he's like, oh, you're a pretty good looking dude, huh? Like you must, because his whole thing, Gyotaro's whole evil thing is that he's ugly, and no one ever like he was the most ugly person in the entire entertainment district or whatever, and so that made him whatever. And so he's like, yeah, I'm super flashy and I have 3 wives. And Gyotaro's like, you said you have, what the fuck did you just say you have? You have 3 wives. He like loses his absolute goddamn mind on him just because of that. But yeah, that one moment where the one wife comes over the roof with the like absolute cannon of kunai and fires it at him. Right. And it has that moment where he's like, he's diving in after the demon like deflects most of them, and he gets hit by like a bunch of his own kunai, and he's like, oh, you're right, you're shinobi, like you're not anything. And it's like has that moment of like this is like the lightning warfare, this is shinobi tactics, this is like get the one strike, like it all comes down to like one strike of the head and the neck, and the way they like style the fighting after that was super cool. And just everything that Uzui does is so clean.
Yeah, no, he's a boss. He's a player. He's no player hater. No, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Fam. No, I'm just gonna fucking.
All right.
Can we keep or like can we stop this trend of like so you'll build up this. They didn't even build it up, but like there's a big bad guy, right? And they're fighting Big Baddie, right? And they fight him for 6 episodes. They successfully kill said bad guy.
Yeah.
And then they build the fucking backstory.
Yeah.
They do it.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer loves it.
That's a pet
I don't know
peeve.
why.
Shut up! Why?
That's
I don't
a
give a
pet peeve.
shit about him. He's dead now. Fuck off!
Yeah.
It's like their life flashes before their eyes, and then they like it's a whole episode about them.
It's like Assassin's Creed, right? Where like
Yeah,
I didn't play any
basically.
Assassin's Creed, but it's like the first Assassin's Creed.
Right.
It's literally like there's no build up
lay him
at all.
down.
Yeah, there's
Lay
no
down,
build up. Yeah, this man is burning every fucking book in this country, and then you stab him, and he's like, oh, so like my mom really fucking fucked me.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah. And
Why?
they
It was such it wasn't a cringe backstory. Like he had some legitimate concern with the world. Like he was getting fucked by the world.
Yeah.
I want to know that before. You know how like spoilers for fucking Odd Taxi, but Odd Taxi does this perfectly, where they'll spend an entire episode building up something that you think is completely irrelevant, and then it comes to fruition the next episode, and you're like, "Holy shit, this is why!" Like if they just imagine if they showed that that whole eraser thing at the end of the episode or the end of the season, like instead of like showing the big story, it was just a masked man trying to kill him.
Oh, you're still
Yeah.
talking about Odd Taxi. Yeah.
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 Oh, if
Horrible.
Like right when he died, they go into his backstory. Like,
Yeah.
And then they go fucking come on.
It's like I don't care
I
about.
hate that shit. Stop
yeah,
that trend.
it-
That shit is dumb.
Is it like a trend in anime or just Demon Slayer? Because I just know of Demon Slayer doing it, honestly. Because it's
My Hero.
I've seen certain like Naruto does it certain like in Shippuden does it certain times. Not all the
Interesting.
time, but it is like I was thinking of that really with the last episode because Demon Slayer does this thing where like I guess a decent amount of anime do it where they try to make him empathetic and stuff, and like Tanjiro cries for the demons he slays, which can be very cool and was like a standout aspect in season 1 in a way, but I don't think you need that. You either have that and, like Trevor said, set it up really well, which I could think of a million interesting ways they could do it. They could have a past story going on with a modern story or whatever in a little bit, or just don't have it. Like it's fine if they just kind of suck and like they're just evil. And
Not every upper 6 needs to be explained.
Yeah, I mean,
not every lower 6 need to be explained. Not every demon that they come across needs to be explained.
That's what you think, Trevor. No, Demon Slayer in and of itself has this whole philosophy of where they do it through Tanjiro, where he views like only Kibutsushi Muzan as being truly evil and him being the conduit of the creation of demons and everything. And they're like all the other demons, while well and truly evil, are like his tragic victims initially. Like they at one time had some degree of innocence and were corrupted by him. And so that is like a standout piece where he feels sympathy and pity for the demons he kills and like cries for them, like you said, and puts them to rest rather than like, rage filled like slaughter of them.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not only just that. Like that's a great aspect of his character, but he's like he when he takes them out, he recognizes that they're victims, but he also is like, I cannot you oversee the fact that you've killed people as a demon and you've done so mercilessly, so that's why you gotta take it out. That's a great part of his character, but if they leave it at that, which I think he did perfectly, because they were arguing when they were about to like fade into dust, and he's like, you guys are the only family that you have, don't be yelling at each other in your last moments. I thought that was perfect. They could have added just like that. In my opinion, I mean,
that would have been it. That would have been great because that whole exchange was pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, like them just blaming each other for why they're dying. Like, oh, I'm so pissed. Like that was her last words. I'm so pissed.
I'm pissed. And there's a part of you as a viewer who wants to sit like we just talked about, have this whole thing of like they're pitiful and they're pitiful creatures and victims in their own way, but also like, as a viewer, you're like, yeah, fuck them, die in a hole, bitch. Like, yeah, go absolutely, like you're scum, you're garbage, like everything.
There's only so much
it's-
empathy that I can give a serial killer. Like
They-
we all
yeah.
had humble beginnings, but there's a point where you turn evil, and that's like, okay, you're not a human anymore.
Yeah, and they really do that
Yeah.
thing, and it was most notable in season 1 with the spiders, where he decapitates the spider, or like goes to, and like in that moment they do like I'm pretty sure it's a cliffhanger on the decapitation where they do like an entire episode on like the Spider Kid and stuff like that, and it was so it gets to be a lot. Obviously, their backstory is fucking horrific, and they do reference it like it's almost like they think they're giving you the backstory as it goes on, but they only hint at it, because there's like this moment where Nezuko first comes out of the box and she burns Daki, and Daki has like a flashback of her point of view in the pit as like the samurai walks away and like lights are on fire. Like there's a thing where
That's way not enough. Yeah,
it's not enough. I only picked up on it when I watched it again, because I skimmed through it. I skimmed through it to refresh my memory.
Right.
I skimmed through it to refresh my memory, but so I only realized it after the fact. But like in the moment, you're just like, oh, this is some sort of bit of backstory that's probably going to get explained later, because that's what Demon Slayer does. They eventually give you the information like once after they've been killed, and it's too late to actually care that much
after you
kill
them.
But even doing that is very risky for them as they're creating it, because they risk it being overlooked by the viewer, which in the most case it has, because I overlooked it, Trevor overlooked it. I don't know if David.
I mean, I did, and only picked it up on the second skim through. Yeah, so
you don't know that it's important, as you're watching it.
Like she has like this, they try to make this whole point of her like experiencing trauma because it's like her remembering the fire, but you like don't actually get that unless you rewatch like I just did. So, but there's. Go ahead, David.
They just, I mean, there's a way to do it right, but they're not emotionally preparing you for an entire episode where you're supposed to feel bad for them, as they're already dead. You watch the whole thing. They're wrecking the entertainment district. It's an awesome freaking fireworks show of them trying to kill them. Yeah. We did it. I was like, hey, feel bad for them. Like, no, like I didn't feel anything for them at all. Like, it doesn't matter how, like,
either.
It was awful, but like, give me some, like, that could, like, put pieces of it and then make it like a short montage, or like Alex said, just have the scene where there's some humanity acknowledged. Like, we can imagine some sort of backstory, and then that's it. Like, a whole episode, it was.
Yeah, I don't need 20 minutes spoon fed to me of like, like it drives me insane where it's like them monologuing their own backstory too. It's like, I don't know.
And it is interesting and definitely of note, because they have no problem taking that time to do other stuff, like with Tanjiro singing Nezuko a lullaby. They have like a whole like 5-minute takeaway on the lullaby being important and stuff like that, and the whole scene they try to make you feel a lot of sympathy for Uzui and his connection with his wives, because they have the whole scene in the graveyard where he's at his family grave and talking to them about prioritize your own lives over the mission and stuff like that. And they set up this sort of family drama with Uzui that they then never return to. So we'll see if we hear more about that in the future.
He was in a clan of 9 shinobi, 7 are dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's like I kind of give a shit. Like, it's kind of cool. Like, they set up a potential like very interesting character, and the only other person to survive that training, and that's his older brother. So like, either on par with his strength or something else, and so he might become important.
I don't know, because he's retired, right? And there's like fucking 11 other Hashira. It's like, how much more time in the limelight are they going to give that particular side of Hashira? I don't know if they'll ever even show him.
Who knows? One would like to assume, if they're showing him to you, that there'll be some sort of payoff, like you talk about with Odd Taxi. Like, they give you a ton of information, and all of it ends up being important in the end, or in the middle, or wherever. One would hope, that I'm not talking about it on a podcast for absolutely no reason, but maybe I am. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I did enjoy Tengen a lot as a character. I was expecting a little bit more out of his backstory, but I imagine we'll see him return at least in some way. Who knows? Like, I was thinking about the structure of where they go from now, and obviously, I don't know. Have you read past this in the manga, Alex, or no? I don't know.
Oh yeah, you weren't here pre-pod, but I told everybody that as of yesterday, I have finished the entirety of the manga. So
Oh, okay, big
Yeah.
boy status. Okay. Yeah. So personally, yeah, I'm curious because I don't know. I mean, if you think about this and Mugen Train, there's a similar structure where they're under the wing of a Hashira, and then it gets crazy, and then like the Hashira's out of the game, basically. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of differences too, but if they're doing that, which I don't imagine it'll be that formulaic, but then it's like Trevor said, when are they going to fit stuff in? How are they going to give?
There's
time?
not a lot. There's not a lot of the show left. Like, and we haven't even explored 8 of the Hashira. I don't even know how fucking many there are, but I'm just gonna say 12. 8 or 10 of them we haven't even like fully explored. We haven't seen them in combat. They're just magically powerful. So, and we're just supposed to respect them.
Like that one little bitch boy who shows up after the fight is
fucking
over.
Snake boy.
And he's like,
annoying too. It's
congratulations, I guess, defeating,
that
and I
was
guess,
annoying.
number
the freaking
6.
mean you're retiring. You got one arm and one eye, but fight, bro. Fight until you die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a somehow worse Sasuke moment, but
I was literally
That was-
not here, but yeah, no, it was that was interesting. We'll see how strong that guy really is.
And he just hates Tanjiro for no reason. He's like, the boy that you hate is really flashy.
Yeah.
He's like,
he's gonna be the next Hashira.
Tanjiro.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is cool at the cool little moment at the very end in their interaction where he's like, nah, you can't retire, like we need you, yada yada, and he's like, oh well, one of these kids is nearing his full potential, like he's about to hit it. And there is that moment when he finally manages to chop off Gyotaro's head, where he basically like unlocks sun breathing, like the scar on his head changes and everything, and his like eyes roll back in his skull, and he finally chops off the Demon Slayer's head. And technically,
The Demon Slayer's head.
the Demon's head. And technically, by Demon Slayer rules, I believe they say something in season 1 about it, that ranking as Hashira, the prerequisite is to kill a Demon Moon, and together, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu have killed Demon Moons. So,
All right, so there's gonna be at least 2 more Hashira deaths in the next next season or so. I'm here for it.
Help us.
Don't be pussies this time.
yeah, I mean, they can
Yeah.
be directly below them. But yeah, so, I mean, the upward mobility is a little nuts. They do reference, like, they do make it a little bit something I just thought of, which is like a side tangent, but they reference another one of the Hashira. Uzui references him as having picked up a sword and becoming a Hashira in 2 weeks. So like supposedly there's
I
people
thought
even
they were talking about Rengoku.
what?
I thought they were referring to Rengoku.
No, they show one of the other kids who's like he's got black hair with like blue tips at the end. He's like he has like no lines when all the Hashira actually line up.
Oh yeah.
He like barely says anything, but supposedly he like became a Hashira incredibly fast.
Right. I know.
Just like that's
I
just
forget
one
his name.
little line that Uzui like tosses out there. But so there's, like you said, in terms of dedicating time to characters, a lot we
There's not
don't
a whole
know.
lot left.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
There's not a lot.
I'm very interested in the world and characters. I really like the Hashira are really, I don't know what about them, just the way their story's written and the way their character design, they're all very interesting to me. So I hope
yeah.
I mean everyone loves this manga, I think, so I'm sure they'll get their justice, but they do a great job of making me interested in each and every one of them, because and even like the 3 or 4 we've seen so far are so different too. That's what I love.
Yeah, I think the biggest point for me, at least, because I don't particularly feel attached to any of them, like besides the ones that we've already seen. I mean, obviously they really haven't shown too much, but like they are visually stimulating, which is like the biggest part.
Yeah, I mean,
especially in an anime.
They have the lineup at the mansion in season 1, and they're like each one of them is a different part of the color wheel. Like they're just all
basically.
over the place in terms of like
good
size, shape, design, everything,
It's a good design choice.
personality.
Who have we really interacted with so far? Like, there's like 4, right? 4 at Hashira at least.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
we have at least 2. I don't remember the others.
I
Well,
mean,
there's,
the original
and then
the original
Shinobu.
Hashira we interacted with before we even knew was a Hashira was Tomioka Giyu, which very kindly Alex sent me a little
true.
gift. If I can get the reflection on it
True.
properly in the camera for
I
the YouTube
did.
viewers, little pop figure of Tomioka Giyu,
He's a
the
beast.
water Hashira, the absolute beast. Yeah, it's interesting because like
You put it in the glass case.
and it's still in its plastic, in its case within a case.
oh wow.
So keep it nice and mint. But yeah, it was
You never
interesting
gonna take this
because
shit out?
in like, well, we'll see. I don't know. I might.
You better take that shit out.
Probably, because he looks so nice. I kind of want to have him on my desk, but like I don't know.
Fuck
I don't want to disrespect the tradition, you know? Because Alex,
The tradition of buying something and not even enjoying it. I love it.
you can still see him.
I enjoy mine, and I have. Are you saying I don't enjoy them?
Hey, you have far too
Anyway.
many to even put anywhere, so I respect you, but
Anyway, the scenarios in season 1 with the demons that they battle there are like significantly below this in seriousness and danger. So like the Hashiras just kind of show up. It's Shinobu, the butterfly insect Hashira, and Tomioka Gyu. So like we don't actually know. It's hard to establish the relative strength of the Hashira.
you can't because nothing's happened. Really.
Yeah. So like I'd see, because they talk about how like the water style is like more flexible and like easier for defense, and so the style isn't as powerful, but it is like smoother. And then like but then the flame Hashira Rengoku is like extremely powerful and quick and fast, but like even though those are different styles, which one could be stronger, you know? So I'm very, very fascinated to see what they do, because the sound moves were cool as fuck. I wish I got to see more of him. He only uses like 3 forms of it or something. That was one of the best parts of the movie was seeing Rengoku unleash like everything in the flame Hashira breathing, or the flame breathing technique, where he just kept on pulling them out one after the other, and they were all gorgeous and so cool to see. And they did a really, really good job with all of the animation and the popping and the sound of just Uzui and Gyotsuro just absolutely fucking going at each other, screaming their heads off, was visually stunning and amazing, and I loved it. I love stuff like that, the cheesy anime, like just fucking 1,000 slashes a second type stuff.
No, it was pretty cool, like how they established him as a shinobi, and then he's using typical like tools from a shinobi's kit, like the smoke bombs or the
explosives.
explosions. But they interweave that into his moveset, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one thing I will kind of transition to is that, I mean, for me, this is the first show where I've read the manga and then watched the show, which was an interesting experience. And they were pretty faithful to the manga. There's not too many differences, but there is one difference that exists, and it's a subtle difference, but they kind of explain as they're fighting in the manga that Uzui's weapons have like some type of explosive power, and it's like up until like that point, his weapons like have like killed everybody in one blow except his demons who he fought, who survived.
Damn.
It's like his weapons have like an explosive like oomph
to
it when he uses them.
That would be a cool thing for them to explain, because when he like started just whipping it out and there was like fireworks and stuff.
Isolate that.
Isolate that. Yeah, it's gonna be on the new intro.
Yeah, dude.
When he just starts whipping it out. Ooh, baby.
And there's fireworks.
All right, you were saying, David. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. That's cool, man.
I'm sorry. Nah, his fucking weapons look dank sauce, though. I like that they're connected by chains. I like that it's not your typical sword.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really give a shit about not having enough range. He's right in your face with it.
If they can give the Hashira this treatment, and that's another part of it's sort of related to another part I love about the show. They set up that like the humans are just outmatched. Like the Hashira haven't killed the Upper Moon until just now, which makes it a big moment. Which I wish the season was long enough for us to see the repercussions already. But
yeah,
I love how it's like, it's shonen and it's hype and stuff, but there's like an inherent uphill battle, which I guess that's shonen too. But like, basically, it's more convincing that like we're fricked unless we really have like we're about to freaking die, and it turns out like this. So high stakes.
I never felt like undercut by a lot of the cliffhangers and a lot of the turnarounds and stuff like that. Like every time when they're about to cut the demon's head off and then something goes different, is like it felt like kind of rewarding every time, because it felt like the person who should have won that encounter actually did. Like it was all outplay as opposed to like luck or circumstance or stuff like that. Like when we talked about the Rengoku fight, Rengoku chops off what's his name, Akaza's limbs like maybe 80 times that fight. Like gets so many perfect shots in, but like can't get the final one. But it's so many moments where the one that comes to mind the most is when they're on the roof and it's Tanjiro and Uzui, and he's like they both swing for his head at the exact same time, and he like barely catches it with the scythes at his neck, and then but that's Tanjiro's sword on one side and one of Uzui's blade on the other, and so Uzui like goes in from the back with his other blade. And Gyotaro literally just dislocates his neck and spins around and catches it in his teeth. And we're all like, the audience is like, bullshit. And even Uzui then goes, bullshit. He literally just says, don't turn your head around all the way at me. It's like, this is, you gotta be, like, they just, every opportunity, they're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, how is this still not getting the decapitation off? Like, every single time. And so when they finally get it, that final moment where even though it's cheesy as fuck, where like Zenitsu with the godlike speed and Inosuke bleeding from every orifice, like claiming poison doesn't affect him because he's a mountain type Pokemon, I get, whatever.
Mountain type.
And so but it's such a clean moment, and there's so many good moments of just like those altercations and gorgeous animation just between like Tanjiro and Daki alone. Like even in the subterranean cave when Zenitsu cuts all the scarves, the belts, and then Uzui does it after, like the same thing. There's like a side by side of like them both just bouncing around the cave like madmen. There's so many gorgeously animated moments all throughout the season.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly the Hinakami Kagura moments are my favorite by far. Every time just Tanjiro gets in his goddamn bag and goes after him, including like the final little bit right before like Uzui comes back to life and his entrance with the fucking sword in his teeth is so clean. It's so good. Like, I don't even care that they're like, oh, he used his muscles to stop his heart. I'm just like, he's alive. He's kicking ass. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, well, hell yes, let's go. But Tanjiro just like, even in his final moments, like scrambles, and they over explain it like with the demon's internal monologue of like, he uses a kunai to stun him just for a second while he headbutts him and gets that one cut off that just allows him to get the last step. It's just every little moment was just like on edge of my seat stuff. Honestly, I was so entertained by it, just so enthralled with what they gave us. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I can't imagine watching it weekly because I started it like the same day the last episode was coming out, and then I started a couple of days before that, and I watched some of the setup, and it was going slow or whatever. And then like I started the fight, and then my girlfriend Jordan had watched like half the season already, and she was like, "Oh no, I want to watch it with you." So we just got on FaceTime and then watched the rest of the half of the season, even though I had like work in the morning, and it's just we couldn't stop.
Yeah, dude,
and that's great.
The cliffhangers were absurd. They were all like 3 of them were at decapitation moments where it was just like, and then the absolute cuck of it all was the idea of like they would like one of them was Tanjiro about to decapitate him like the time before he actually does, and he's just like screaming. He's like that might be when he unlocks. No, that's not when he unlocks the sun breathing. It's the earlier time. But then so I'm like edge of my seat. I'm like, that's the episode, goddamn! Like the building shows up and it's like the slow paced music, and so you're like you go from edge of your seat to like, god damn it! And so you start up the episode next week, and it's just Uzui and his wives in the cemetery, and you're like, bro, we were just the blade was halfway through his neck. Now I'm watching like backstory for 8 minutes straight. Like, oh man. It was so devastating every time, which just like I don't know. I'm a sucker. I'm just there for it all the time.
Yeah, I definitely echo that sentiment because I was finishing up watching it earlier today, and I think it was like the second to last episode or somewhere towards the end where like the last moment is like just like an insane explosion, and then it's like dead silent. And then I remember thinking like, God, this must be ass to watch this on a week. Like, just what you have to wait for a whole week.
No, that's when you
particular
checked in with
moment-
me, Alex, like a few weeks ago. That was like 3 weeks ago when you were like, "Oh, I read the manga, but I haven't watched it yet. What part are they at on a weekly basis?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, they just like they finally decapitated them, and then the nuke just goes off, and then they're like, see you next week." Like it plays like a zoomed out version of the town with everything being destroyed after you just watch them get completely nuked, and it's just dead silence. It's like, we'll see you next week, and then Nezuko just wakes up again and goes God mode and fixes everything.
Right.
We got another there's a season 1 moment of her being tiny running away from Shinobu, and being tiny and cute and harmless, and she does the same thing where she backpacks Tanjiro around, where roles have reversed, where normally Tanjiro's always carrying Nezuko around on his back, but now Nezuko gets to cart Tanjiro around as he figures out who's alive and not after the absolute nuke that just went off. And then and then Nezuko just like, they did it in Mugen Train too, where she just like, without explaining it, uses her art, just like sets him on fire, and that's when the crybaby wife was like freaking out again and everything, and fixes him, and just like further gains respect amongst the Hashira of like all of them being like, damn, this demon who's not a demon is kind of the shit.
What were you gonna say, Trevor?
It was already said. So.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Damn.
Dang. Yes. Well.
Did y'all have a favorite moment or anything?
I wouldn't say a favorite moment in this. I can tell you in this exact moment, but one thing in my head that I noticed is like, man, the animation is immaculate. The Hinokami Kagura is so dope. But I have to say, my favorite style to watch in particular is water breathing. Water breathing looks so clean. He did it early in the season. The way they animate that is just gorgeous. I could watch that the whole freaking season.
It is.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, they make it pop so much. The lighting of it.
Right.
Yeah. It looks so unique. Yeah. I feel you. The different styles.
Everything sounds so amazing every single time too. Like the water and flame and firework and electricity sound effects are just nuts every time.
Even the sound effects, like right after the intro, and it's like chant, and then it's like doo-doo.
Yeah,
that shit is dope every time.
Oh, it's just immaculately produced, dude.
Yeah.
Who was in the studio? You photable. Love them.
Yeah.
Trevor, any singular favorite moment that catches your eye? Do you like the part where Inosuke is destroying the brothel to find the worm belt?
Encanto. No fucking.
What?
Are you talking about the muscle rats?
No, I spoiled the movie, so I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm not gonna elaborate on it. My favorite part was probably the moment where homie just drops a martyrdom, and it kind of the whole nuke goes off or whatever. But like the way they transition it like beautifully, like seamlessly to the credits. There's a certain like art to that. I have a lot of respect for how they did that and how they ended the episode like that. It's pretty fucking clean. So that's probably my favorite part.
I love stuff like that where they go. It seems like beyond what the normal medium is. Like they don't just cut to the normal credits. It's like, oh, this is serious. Okay.
Yeah. And that scene was so incredibly intense, the way they did it too, from the perspective of Tanjiro part of the time, where his ears are ringing and you can hear his inner thoughts, and he's just gasping, and you can hear it sounds like Tengen is like super far away, and he's like, get up, it's not over, get up, and he's saying something, and he's just still like bleeding from his eyes from everywhere else, like gasping for air. He's like,
Kamado-kun. Is a great moment, and then it just gets kind of really cheapened when Nezuko just has the fucking get out of jail free card. Like,
that's the plot armor type beat.
That hurt being her blood demon art. I think that's really lame, but I think it's just a huge cop out because it completely cheapens that entire like nuke moment. There's no point in that happening besides showing off, hey, we can do this really gorgeously. Like they're all fine. Like
I hate
that shit, but. I like that
they,
moment.
They could have come up with some more consequences or creative stuff, or just creative ways to get out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. It is like they had some weird pitfalls you wouldn't expect. My favorite part was when they made another joke about Zenitsu being an ugly girl.
Oh, you didn't get 20 of those? You want 21?
Yeah, there was
You
there
want
was a lot.
21?
Zenko, whatever they call it.
Zenko-chan, yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, I love Tanjiro being like the best workhorse that brothel has ever had, and then like they have the one moment where he's finally like, I must resign, and the Oiron is like, oh yeah, I knew you were a boy the entire time.
Yeah.
And Tanjiro is somehow astounded that his undercover skills weren't so incredibly perfect that he'd like passed as a girl completely and totally, and they just give him like the two little black dots and the line for a face.
Right.
So
It also is pretty funny. Like Daki gets shit on like verbally, like in their interactions. Like Uzui, like the first moment Uzui comes in, he's like, "Where's the demon?" And he's like, "You cannot be a 6. You know, you're too weak." She's like, "What do you mean?" And then she goes off like on him, and then her head is like already off.
Yeah, and he's like, "What are you talking?"
Significant when you realize that he wasn't being facetious. Like he was being legitimately like serious in that moment, but you don't realize that. Like
he's just such a baller. They
and it's so dope when her brother shows up and he like has that like quick reaction time or whatever, and there's a moment where my dude's just staring at him like, oh bruh, like it's really good because they trade out the joke moment for like a serious one.
Yeah,
and you realize it's like, oh, this is the dude who's gonna frick me up.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's like you're far too weak. You're not the demon I'm looking for, and it's like, oh, that's a flag. There's the demon I'm looking for. But yeah, it is. They really do that with the power scaling constantly, where you watch like certain level skill people, as in like Tanjiro and them, like struggle with the certain demon, and then the Hashira shows up and is just like one taps the one demon that they've been struggling against for 3 episodes. But then they like, now that my brother's awake, I have a third eye, and now I'm stronger. I can see all of your movements. So they always like up the ante yet another way. They find a way to make it like, oh, this is like a villain worth fighting again. But yeah,
I will say, like, that brings me back to I have a thing for like just not. I mean, there was no gore in this. Well, I mean.
There was gore when Daki destroys the neighborhood the first time. Like you see one dude that's like just like half decapitated, and his wife is crying over his dying body. It's like tragic as hell.
I don't consider it gore all that much because it is animation and it is drawn. So like it hits different for me. Yes, it is technically gore, but it doesn't hit the same. But what does hit the same is when homie is like literally scratching his face to the point where he's like leaving trails, and I'm just like. Intrusive thoughts. This is gonna like fuck me up when I'm trying to sleep.
When we talk about sound effects, that's one sound effect I didn't wish was so good. The sound of tearing flesh of his face.
Need to do that.
Like nails on flesh is just like ugly. Oh man, yeah, we get it. He's ugly. Yeah. It was they really leaned into that whole motivation of like he's super fucking ugly, she's super beautiful, and that's their entire motivation.
They stopped doing that like in the. Like halfway through the fight.
They stopped leaning on it too hard, yeah. I
was like, thank fuck, man.
Yeah. I think... Go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, there's just weird how there's like physical things that aren't like the worst thing that happens, really like the worst injury that just totally can set you off. Like when, like in Parasite at the beginning, when the parasite goes up his arm.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like in his skin. Like that is not as bad as like someone getting their like head chopped off by a parasite later. Like it's funny how that happens.
Right.
No, that is worse.
Just the cringe factor is it really hurts. I
don't get creeped out like that in any way. Like it doesn't bother me.
I'm glad, man. I wish.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm not that bothered by it. There was a character in ReZero who would do that, like where he would scratch his face in his skull and everything, like to the point of like where his eyes are popping out of his skull. And I was like, I don't want to fucking watch this show because of this one character. Sorry. Well, anyway.
I'm so glad. No, don't repeat
my man
it.
Shigaraki is the king of scratching.
It's Shigaraki too. Yeah, that's
all the hands to scratch.
From My Hero Academia. For sure. So it's an interesting archetype or not stereotype, I guess archetype is the right word, of like a villain that like scratches and harms themselves in that way. That sound effect definitely gets under my skin. I'm not a fan.
I'm way fucking cool on any of that. So if we could trash that archetype, it'd be
I
dank
will-
sauce, bank sauce,
Yeah.
Lloyd
I guess
dank
one-
sauce.
I guess one thing real quick we didn't talk about. How do we feel about the very end? You know, Ubuyashiki, the main leader of the Demon Slayers, he gives his speech while he's coughing up blood.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be fine. With the way that this season came, treated me, I was like, maybe there's something wrong. I don't.
Yeah, I
foresee
mean,
anything, but you're also asking it, and you've read the anime or the manga, so.
Well, the most important part of that.
I ask things and talk about things in a way I try to where you won't. Take what I say, even though I know, even though you know I know. Don't assume that I'm talking about it in a way that should make sense to me.
Exactly.
How meta can we make this conversation?
Yes.
Yeah, no. The most important part of that scene being the reveal that he says the most disgraceful or the only stain on my family, whatever, however he says it. One way or another, we discover he's related to Kibutsushi Muzan. They are from the same clan, one way or another. He says,
I did not deduce that. So
no, he literally he says I don't know the exact line, but it's like the only stain on my line,
blemish on my family.
Only blemish on my family.
I didn't take it as that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't pick up on that. We'll see. We'll see. Right?
We'll see.
I mean, if they're literally related, I don't know, because he does refer to the Demon Slayers as his children, so it could be more of a figurative thing, I guess. But it seemed like he meant it literally. But I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of we'll sees. It's such a short season. I really hope they go back to a full format for the next one.
I do as well. I don't particularly enjoy the one arc thing, but
I mean,
right.
I feel like that's a big takeaway. It was
because even on Funimation, you pull it up. It's like season 1, Mugen Train. Then it's entertainment arc. And it's like, what is this? I'm freaking out arc.
It's just an arc.
And it just doesn't feel like a full season 2. It's kind of a cheapening moment,
especially since all of season 1 was 20-something episodes.
26, it's like as long as shit.
They adapted quite a lot. Yeah, they got a lot of the material on there. This
is like another movie in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept trying to picture it as that, and I'm glad it's not because I don't think it would facilitate well to be in a movie. Because, like I said, I don't think a whole lot of shit happens to even substantiate a full feature-length film, but I definitely kept trying to picture it like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, because they could easily cut the stuff,
stuff
at the beginning, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It wasn't as clean as Mugen Train.
Yeah, Mugen Train has more emotion behind it. I think emotional stakes and everything.
Absolutely.
This is a lot of flash, not as much substance. I mean, it's there. There's interesting stuff with like his dad. Like now we know his dad was a demon slayer or whatever because she has that flashback as freaking Muzan or whatever.
Who's she?
Daki. It's that moment like right after Tanjiro, which is actually I was gonna say one of my favorite moments of the show. Maybe my single favorite like little clip where he like right after she massacres a bunch of people just wantonly, and he like starts bleeding from the eyes and like takes off and catches her by the foot and chops her foot off, and he starts like monologuing at her, and he ends up like incidentally repeating what seems to be previously his dad's words. It doesn't show his face, but it's a demon slayer who looks exactly like his dad did, saying those words, and Daki has like an interior monologue of like, whose memories are these aren't my memories. And Tanjiro's saying something to her about like, what's so fun about this? Why do you disrespect life in this way? Like, I don't see the enjoyment. Like, why are you doing this the way you are? And she has like this internal flashback because of Kibutsushi's DNA inside of her with those memories. And so the confirmation that his dad was a demon slayer and must have been some sort of Son Hashira or something. We don't know, but yeah.
He looked pretty cool. He's Minato to Naruto. Can we talk about the fact that homie we got the Endeavor a treatment from fucking Rengoku's father.
Oh, yeah.
That shit was mad lame.
Oh, what do you mean?
Wait.
His like mini redemption arc where he like writes an apology letter to Tanjiro.
I would even consider that. That's not even considered redemption in my eyes. I think he finally just broke. He was
That's-
like, I'm fucking sober enough to be like, oh.
Well, that's what
my
I
wife
mean. Is
died,
it's
and that's why I'm a piece of shit. Like,
I'm
Yeah.
talking.
I don't think
I'm
it's
talking.
lame.
I'm talking about
I
their
hated
framing.
that shit. Ugh.
I didn't mind it. They didn't make it a whole episode, which I
No,
liked.
I know, but
Yeah.
I didn't need that. He could have stayed a piece of shit.
I-
That's just me.
Honestly, it hit pretty good for me. I don't know.
Did it?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of why. I mean, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, but it hits well because at the beginning he's like, he's a loser. He's a loser. You're like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah.
why would he say that about his dead son? And then it's like, well, he's drinking the pain away, essentially, which
Yeah.
is not a good thing, but it's what he turned to, and so
Mm-hmm.
it was him apologizing for acting like that, and I'm
Yeah.
appreciative that they did it short, and
Yeah.
Definitely
they did
short.
it- I think they did it. I think they did
I
it
just-
justice.
I don't know. I don't think there was enough reason for him to
I think it just-
completely like throw away his entire family because his wife died and he couldn't handle it. And then he just like shits on
It's-
on the son that was like completely loyal to him and saw him as a god. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
it's
it's
not.
not-
It's
it's
not
not
the
a good
show.
reason.
It's not the
It's
show like
still-
demanding you to forgive his character. It's an apology to Tanjiro, and it's more of a reflection on Tanjiro's character and the effect he has on people as
Right.
like a human. And he can encounter people and be like, I fought and watched your son die, and like connect with him in this way and be like, and remind him of what his original morals and values used to be. And so you see that change in him as a reflection on Tanjiro's character, rather than like the show suggesting like, hey, you should forgive this guy now. He said, I'm sorry. Like, it's not like that. It's like just like as an idea of who Tanjiro is and his effect on people.
I would have just preferred a stronger reason, and just of like why he is the way he is. Like it just wasn't a great payoff for me when like there's a lot of like, especially in Mugen Train, where it just shows him being a complete asswipe. Like for like every time you see him on screen, he's a total dickwad, and it's like, oh, he just couldn't handle his wife like dying. I don't know. It didn't pay off for me.
I mean, I obviously, you can't forgive like the descendants into alcoholism and abusing your children, but that's not to say that losing your wife, it wouldn't be an incredibly traumatic and horrendous experience to go through. And
Sure.
it does another job, I guess, in casting the Hashira as like, these people are still only human. Like they can be extremely powerful swordsmen, but they have flaws and weaknesses and emotions. And that it's another thing the show tries to do regularly, where it tries to separate demons from humans, where every once in a while, and basically every upper moon we've seen, I guess with Akaza, is like monologuing to Rengoku about like, become a demon, you can live forever and train forever, and because you can train forever, you can become even more perfect fighter. Like, demons are so much better than humans. Like, why would you ever want to be a human? Be a demon instead. And Rengoku gives his whole speech of like human life is important and beautiful because it is impermanent and stuff like that. And so the show does this back and forth of like what it means to be human, and the purity and importance of that and beauty of that, versus like the all-powerful unfeeling demon. And so it's that dichotomy is something they like love to go into and try to make points about regularly. And they do it with Daki too. Daki's like, I'm an unaging gorgeous demon, like I will never be ugly. Like you like all you ugly like flailing humans can do is like get old and get disgusting and die. Like, so they make points like back and forth about like the benefits or takeaways of being demon versus human. They have to philosophize about it. So
It's an interesting theme for sure. I mean, I'm interested to see them explore it further. I don't know. I'm just ready for that more of that plot to hit, more of the character development to go on. They did a good amount in this fight of what they could do, I guess, but not a ton.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy because at the pace where they're going, where we start out on season 1 and they take their time to show the training arc, and then they get in the final selection, and then they set off on like killing certain strength, like increasing levels of stronger and stronger demons, where they it's like the one random one who's like mediocre, and then they fight one that like used to be a 12 Kazuki, and then they move on to one that like is a lower moon, and like Tanjiro almost beats him, but the Hashira come in, and so they like slowly scale up this power. But now it's getting to this exponential level where like every demon we meet is a 12 Kazuki, where it's starting to become, and Alex, don't react to this in case I'm right, where it's just gonna set up a fight like an Avengers Civil War type thing, or like something like that, where you just have like 5 demon slayers and 5 demon moons line up against each other, and it's just like an all-out fucking war the entire time. It just keeps on scaling up.
Considering there's not a whole lot of time left, I don't really particularly see it going any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what I was. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like it's fast paced. It scales up quick, like you said. They could take more time in my mind, but
well, not even that. It's like I see it as like, you know, there's 12 Kizuki, ever many Hashira. It's like can they afford to expend resources on like telling other stories that aren't them, because they have already established so many things that are unknown.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
We shall see. Hopefully it is back next year.
Final thoughts?
Yes, sir.
It's just it's really tough the way they have to fight the war before the information era, where you can't exactly send a radio or a text back and be like, okay, here's who's here. Here's what we're dealing with, whatever. Like, if you're a Hashira, as soon as you discover what is going on, you fight, or you fight to win or die. Where they just like, apparently they've like, that pairing of demons has apparently been there eating humans and Hashira for centuries on end, and it's just like, damn, like that's so fucking tough that you have to send Hashira in there blind every time, and they just so many of them die over and over again.
Crows.
It's in the crows, man.
I mean, they talk about how they've like devoured like 15 or however many Hashira or whatever when they're flexing on him at the very beginning of the fight when the brother first comes out. So
how have the demons not just taken over the world at this point?
Yeah, I know, right? Like they.
How does that make sense?
Like if he's falling to his knees, like we finally killed one demon moon after so many centuries. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess they're keeping their food source alive. Who knows? But yeah.
Final thoughts.
Any other thoughts?
What are we gonna rate this? What are we gonna summarize
now?
it as? Yeah.
Okay, do it.
I can start.
Cameron, go ahead.
I would love to give this a 10. It would be so much fun if I could give it a 10, because the like episode 6, like when he first truly starts fighting Daki all the way through, I mean, as we talked about, the idea of putting the entirety of the backstory of the villains after their defeat is like a little obnoxious, and like make me care about them before, and as everything we already said, the gag of that they lean on as if it's super fucking funny of them being like little girls is a little tough and definitely drags down the season. And yeah, I think I stand by what I said. I think everything was a payoff. None of the cliffhangers were like particularly disappointing where it felt like complete bullshit. I mean, obviously we talked about the idea of like Inosuke is just like, my heart moves and I was in the mountains, so I don't die ever. It's like, okay, all right, sick. So I'll give it a 9 just because it does like have its parts that sort of cut it off and cut it down a little bit and like make it drag it away from being able to be a perfect season. But I think the highs are just so incredibly high. It's I think the most gorgeous animation we've seen in the show so far, maybe except for Rengoku's ending fight with Akaza and stuff like that.
I don't think
that was cinema quality animation, so it's like really fucking hard to beat to begin with, right? Like that was designed to be on the big screen. So, but so many moments in the fights and so many zooms, and a lot of the slow motion didn't even feel like it was dragging on. I mean, I was just edging my seat the entire time. So, yeah, it didn't seem to suffer too much from over explanation and stuff like that. Only as much as I'll deduct it 1 point. So that's my long-winded 9.
A 9.
That's high. Yeah. I guess since I'm talking, yeah, we already said everything. The setup is fairly weak. It doesn't seem all that important when we get into the fighting. The last episode isn't super strong, but not a ton of plot going on necessarily, but a great fight, and I can always appreciate that. Great animation. There's Trevor brought up the art of how they direct it and the sequences they put together is something to be admired. I think it'll be pretty rewatchable, even if I just start at when the fight starts. And
Agreed.
I would kind of like to just rewatch it. I love stuff like this, and it just seems like they poured so much budget into the last half of the season.
Yeah, dude.
So I would give it an 8. Like a little lower, like it's very comparable to Mugen Train for me. And Mugen Train, I gave an 8.5. It has that much stronger emotional core, I guess. And you want to cry at the end of it. And this is just a barrel full of fun, huh?
You wanna? I did.
Yeah, exactly. I did too. Yeah.
All right.
Now it's you and me.
I'll go. I mean, I'd hate to sound like a broken record and keep saying that I know I've read the manga now, but it is an experience for me.
No, it's cool. That's cool because none of us have done it. So
right, so it's interesting to me because I would always have imagined myself if I read the manga and know what's gonna happen, then it's not gonna be as enjoyable to watch. And I don't find that to be the case with this particular anime. Like I said, it's my first time, so even though I know what's gonna happen, it's I'm still so excited. I'm hyped. I'm blown away by the animation is gorgeous, and especially with series like this, when I'm reading it on the page, I'm there's so much art to look at, but it's this is gonna look crazy when it's animated.
Yeah, dude.
And then it does.
Yeah.
And it's just all right, this is why anime is anime,
Yeah, the colors are so rich and gorgeous and flowing and just strikingly beautiful in the show. I can't imagine the gap between it being black and white and being in color,
Yeah.
Even the characters themselves, let alone the moves and everything. So yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, that's good to hear that it is still a legitimately rewarding experience.
Mm-hmm. And so I did binge the show within the past few days, and I was talking to Cameron throughout because he's been watching it weekly. So I was like, where are they at now? Where are they at now? And I've been trying to wrap my head around it until before I've watched the show, because I thought I knew the season was going to be short, and I'm like, the Entertainment District arc was not a short arc. It was a substantial amount of volumes, amount of material. And so they pulled it off. They got the whole arc in there, but it is just the whole arc itself, which to last this long it's a pretty long arc. And as an arc, I feel like it's pretty lengthy, maybe, I don't know, more than it needs to be. There's a lot of you missed his head. Oh shit, I got it. But you missed his head. I'm gonna give it a 7, which is still pretty phenomenal. I mean, it's purely the animation is crazy. That's what bumps it up a lot. Like I said, I will say it is lengthy in terms of how long the fight goes on, because it is a long fight. And the resolution is there, and so continuing on to the other arcs, I'm excited to see them get animated. So yeah, that's my take on the season.
Cool.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna really quickly echo what y'all were just saying with the whole. I just did some quick maths on the 4 out of the 11 episodes being not very memorable for me. 36% of the season. So for it being a very short season, it already feels kind of bloated, and it took a long while for it to get to the best part about it, which was the 5-episode fight. But yeah, this show is great. It looks great. That's what I meant to say. I don't know. There was a lot of shit that I didn't enjoy that they did that I guess I couldn't get past, and it knocked actually, as we talked about it, I stirred with it more in my head, and I'm like, I didn't really like this season as much as I'd even just rated it 2 hours ago. So I initially gave it a 7, and I'm gonna stick with a strong 6.
Yikes.
That's fair. Listen, a 6 is still favorable. It's not on the lower
favorable,
spectrum.
but it's this was not the season for me.
I dig it.
It pushed too many of my buttons.
Shit just constantly dropped my jaw. I was loving every inch of it. So Yeah.
Yeah, I love the 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't do it so statistic mathematical. Like
I don't either.
A 3
I'm just
episode
making a
week
joke.
point is okay. All right. Anyway.
Well.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. What will we do next? Who freaking knows? Who freaking cares?
Who
We'll be
freaking
here.
cares?
We'll be here. Oh, we're doing Jujutsu Kaisen soon.
Yeah,
everybody.
that'll probably be our next episode of movie box office slash
Our next
anime
box will be probably Batman, right? Are we gonna do the Batman review for y'all, or
Are we doing Batman? Sheesh, when does that come out?
March 4th?
Oh gosh. Well,
I'll
Very
be
soon.
marching to go
Damn.
see it, I guess.
hey,
go
man,
see
I'll
it?
be-
We can. I'm
we
down.
gotta
we're gonna find
go up in
out.
the Batmobile drive to see that.
We'll talk about that off air.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
we got a lot of shit coming for you guys. We have a Little Sims review
Yes.
coming up. We have Jujutsu Kaisen. We have a Now Batman. And we also have something else that I forgot that we're doing as well.
Griselda.
Griselda, yes, the
How could you
the
forget?
double feature,
Fake
of,
fan.
Yeah.
Benny the Butcher and Conway's album. So
Yep, and then
got a lot of great content for you guys.
yeah, and then after that we're like swimming and drowning in anime because then we'd have to catch up on freaking Attack on Titan and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
a lot of
and then
shit
by-
to get to.
then by that freaking time Love is War is out and every other anime is out and then we gotta do all those too, so like,
And we'll just be an anime podcast at that point.
That's
God,
fine.
please, oh God, no.
Anyway, yeah, dude.
Yes.
I love that season. That was so much fun. But yeah, the cliffhangers with watching AOT weekly as well, and every episode of Attack on Titan ends on a cliffhanger too. It's ridiculous. It's just
every
like.
is really great.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Am I cutting out like crazy?
Right. Sometimes, yeah.
Has it been happening
That's
all
what I heard.
episode? Because that's not great.
no, you're just
No,
leaving
no.
us on cliffhangers.
All right,
Yeah.
dang, you're right.
Very
As
true.
you're explaining cliffhangers, you
Yes,
are
for that 6, I am leaving you on a cliff. For sure.
on a clip.
Clip
on a clip.
on a clip.
He's leaving us on the.
Isolate that one
Yeah, you could isolate that, and it would sound like it.
on a clip.
Oh my gosh, that's 6. I'm leaving you on a clip. God
Can
dang,
my
call me the
technology
sixth god.
fucking work, please?
Call me the
Dang.
6th god. Wait, what is happening?
Sixth god, aka the click god. Poppy Chulo gripping cool.
Oh my goodness, what is
Really?
happening?
Is that 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
7 a.m. on
Okay.
Bradapa.
Yeah, that's 7 a.m. for sure.
Oh my
We're
God.
leaving. Fucking sign off, please.
See ya.
That's it, David. All you gotta
Yep.
see it. All right, Alex.
It's been fun, you know. Demon Slayer is dope. It will be dope, and it will continue to be dope. So, I love you all. Shout out to you for making it this far.
The season was clean as hell. I'm surprised I didn't get more Tengen Uzui, Have My Babies, Tengen Uzui, You're So Gorgeous from Trevor. Honestly, I was waiting for that to come out, but it never did. But
Tanjiro has my
I'll
heart, man.
I'll give it to you at the very end. That man is bad as hell. So it's no
yeah.
wonder he has 3 wives and they all love him like that. But
Took me to Boner Town more than a few times, I can tell you.
All right, nice. I like it. Oh, we're out here.
There's a lot
Fine,
of
fuck
budget
it,
into
whatever.
those wives too. Let me tell you.
Boner Town. All right. Yeah, they did. Good sly.
The one that was whiny is mid. All she's got is bazungas, but like the other two is pretty fine.
They all
I
got
like Makio,
bazungas.
whatever her name
That's
is.
what
what
I'm
I'm
pretty sure
saying,
that's what
like, they
Alex
were,
meant
like-
by budget.
Yeah, he wiped up the white blood cells from cells at work, bro.
From Code Black.
Go black, yeah.
Goodness. Yeah, dude. All right. Great. We're having a great time here.
I mean, even
But you
Daki, she
spoiled
just
it for
like my
everyone.
demons.
Dang, son.
You said he's gonna slay your demons.
Yeah, they did it to freaking everyone this season. Daki is like, she's 13 when she get turned into a demon. Like, she's just got cleavage like nobody's business, and they do it to Nezuko too. Like Nezuko out of
Yeah.
nowhere, she pops out the box. She's just like, by the way, here these are
No way,
too.
I'm She-Hulk.
Massive,
Yeah, it's a bit-
like
She just freaking
just chest shots.
is it like an aging thing where she's just like
I don't know,
up?
bro.
I don't.
I don't freaking know.
I don't know.
She
You're
just
like six fucking.
she just
for my
uses all
sake, I
her
hope she ages.
stored up power, which we barely talked about. Nezuko just kicking Daki up and down the freaking street, like just the absolute ass whooping that incurred
it's
there,
freaking soccer.
and the fact that Nezuko is now apparently as strong, if not stronger than an upper ranked demon. That'll be interesting going forward. I'm sure she'll be just OP hacks continuously, but yeah, we're in the middle of sign off still. But anyway, yeah, I like the season a lot. Super flashy, super dope. Looking forward to a lot more. We'll see what happens. Be kind to everyone. Stay safe. See you, everyone.
Dope. Season was underwhelming, but I like it either way. It was cool. It was a cool watch. Not mad at it. If you made it this far, this is one of the longer anime boxes that we've done, I want to say.
Recently.
So we're at an hour and a half. So if you guys have made it this far, smash that like button, ring the bell if you do as well. Fuck all that. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode.
Very importantly, very nice. If you would all, if you're on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, you can rate us 5 stars, and that would help us massively expand our reach on our platforms. So if you can do that for us, or whatever you think we deserve, but we deserve 5 stars, so do that.
If you like anime, you like Pokemon, check out Amo's new tape right now.
That's
like
true.
That. I like that.
That's facts.
True. Appreciate you.
The Sinnoh EP.
Like
If the man won't promote himself, do it for him.
Yes.
He doesn't need it. He's bigger than our podcast, so
It's true.
by like
That's
double
facts.
fold.
Yeah.
Twofold, double fold.
Alex.
But yeah, no. We have been the Unboxing Light Podcast. We will talk to you guys later. Peace the frick out, baby.